Rain hammered against the glass of Murphy's diner, turning the empty parking lot into a mirror of scattered lights. It was past 11 when Jessica Martinez, pale under the harsh fluorescent glow, walked toward the man in the corner booth. His suit didn't belong in a place where coffee cost $1, and neither did the silence that followed her trembling hand sliding a napkin under his cup. Alexander Cromwell looked up, gray eyes sharp, catching her fear before her words could. The note was small, but the handwriting shook with a lifetime of quiet endurance. "Help me, please." He studied her face, the exhaustion behind the forced smile, the raw edge of someone at the breaking point. Jessica's voice cracked through the tension. "Please. Just forget I did that." He didn't move. "No," he said softly, the calm in his voice more commanding than anger. "You came to the right person. But you need to trust me, completely." Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, everything in Jessica's life was about to turn. Stay until the end. What happens next will remind you that one act of courage can change everything. Subscribe now to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for stories that move the soul. Rain still clung to the windows of Murphy's diner when Jessica stood frozen, the billionaire's calm voice echoing in her mind. "Do exactly what I say." The words had cut through the hum of flickering neon like a command from another world. Her hands shook as she cleared his cup, afraid her manager might notice. But what terrified her more was the strange sense of hope that crept beneath her fear. She didn't know this man, yet something in his voice carried authority that made people listen. When the door swung open, her manager, Rick Dawson, barged out from the kitchen, grease-stained apron tied tight around his waist. "Jessica," he barked. "Break's over. Get back to work." His tone drew glances from the two other waitresses polishing cutlery. Jessica flinched and turned, but Alexander spoke before she could move. "She's done for the night." Rick's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me." Alexander stood, unfolding his tall frame with a quiet confidence that shifted the air in the room. He pulled $300 bills from his wallet and laid them on the counter. "I'm paying for her shift. She's leaving with me." Rick scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. "You can't just buy my staff, buddy. She's under contract." Jessica's pulse raced. "Mr. Cromwell, please." But Alexander's eyes stayed fixed on the manager. "Her contract ends tonight." The firmness in his tone silenced the room. He turned to Jessica. "Go get your coat." Rick's face turned red. "You think your money gives you the right to walk in here and—" Alexander met his glare. "No. But it gives me the right to help someone who deserves better than being yelled at for working herself to the bone." Jessica hesitated, torn between fear and the strange safety of his presence. She finally slipped into the back room, where the smell of burnt toast and cleaning solution clung to the air. Her reflection in the mirror looked like someone she barely recognized. Tired, worn down, invisible. But for the first time, she wondered if she could be something more. When she returned, Rick stood by the door, blocking her path. "You walk out that door, you're done here for good," he warned. "No reference, no paycheck. You'll regret it." Jessica looked at him, then at the stranger who had seen through her silence. "I already regret staying," she said softly. She stepped outside into the cold night, the rain washing the grease and exhaustion from her skin. The drive was quiet. Streetlights flashed across the windshield, reflecting in her weary eyes. "You didn't have to do that," Jessica murmured. Alexander kept his eyes on the road. "You asked for help. That means something. People who fake desperation don't write it on napkins." They reached the Marriott downtown. The staff greeted him with subtle bows, their professionalism hinting at the kind of influence that didn't need explaining. He handed Jessica a key card. "Room 2008. There's food waiting inside. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Mercy General. Dr. Harrison will meet us there." Jessica's lips trembled. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Alexander paused, his hand on the car door. "Because someone I loved once needed help, and no one listened." His voice carried the weight of unfinished grief. the kind that lingers like shadow after light. Morning broke over Mercy General. The hospital gleamed white against the gray sky. Jessica pushed her mother's wheelchair through the lobby, the smell of antiseptic mixing with faint notes of coffee. Her mother, frail but alert, squeezed her hand. "Honey, who is this man helping us?" Jessica hesitated. "Someone kind. Someone who doesn't owe us anything." They met Dr. Harrison, who greeted Alexander with respect. "You don't waste time, do you?" he said, scanning the chart. "Stage 3, but there's a chance. We'll start treatment immediately." Jessica's mother blinked through tears. "You must be an angel." Alexander smiled faintly. "No, just someone trying to make things right." Over the next few weeks, Jessica saw both the cruelty and kindness of the world. Her manager Rick spread rumors around town, calling her the charity case who got lucky. When Jessica went to the diner to collect her last paycheck, he smirked. "So, the rich guy fixed your problems, huh? How long before he gets bored of playing hero?" She straightened her shoulders. "He didn't fix my life. He gave me a chance to stand again." Rick sneered. "You always were naive. People like him don't care about people like us." Jessica looked at him, her voice steady. "That's what small men say to feel big." His laughter died when she handed him a letter. "What's this?" "From the Department of Labor," she said calmly. "They'll be investigating you for wage theft. Turns out, the extra hours you made us work off the clock were illegal." Rick's face turned pale. "You wouldn't." "I didn't," she said, walking away. "But someone who believes in justice did." By the 3rd month, Jessica's mother was in remission. The doctors called it a miracle, but Jessica knew it was more than that. It was the result of compassion backed by action. Alexander visited every week, bringing flowers and questions about her progress. But he rarely spoke of himself. One evening, while they sat in the hospital garden, Jessica asked quietly, "What happened to your father?" Alexander's gaze drifted to the horizon. He owned a small hardware store. Worked every day until his heart gave out. "I had the money to save it, but he never asked. He thought he'd be a burden." His voice lowered. "Pride kills more quietly than illness." Jessica nodded. "Maybe he'd be proud of what you're doing now." Alexander looked at her with a faint smile. "Maybe. But tonight I'm proud of you." Months later, the city woke to headlines. Murphy's Diner faces federal charges for labor exploitation. Rick Dawson's photo flashed across local news channels. Anonymous testimony had revealed years of stolen wages, harassment, and unsafe working conditions. The investigation was traced to an anonymous donor, Alexander Cromwell Foundation. Jessica watched the broadcast from her new office inside the foundation's downtown branch. She managed the emergency assistance program now, helping families facing the same hopeless nights she once endured. Her mother sat nearby, knitting and smiling softly. "Looks like karma finally clocked in," her mother said. Jessica laughed quietly. "Took her long enough." That afternoon, Alexander stopped by with his usual calm smile. "You've done well," he said. "You turned what hurt you into something that heals others." Jessica looked out the window, sunlight glinting off the glass towers. "I just followed your example." He shook his head. "No. You surpassed it." Later that night, Jessica visited the diner's old location. The neon sign had been taken down, the windows boarded up. Rain began to fall again, soft and steady like closure. She stood there for a while, remembering the girl who once stood trembling with a napkin and 3 words. Behind her, headlights appeared. Alexander stepped out, holding an umbrella. "You came back. I needed to see it one last time," she said. "To remember how far I've come." He nodded. "Sometimes the places that broke us are the ones that prove we survived." They stood in silence as the rain washed away the last traces of that old world. From somewhere deep inside the night, justice had finally spoken, not through vengeance but through transformation. Jessica smiled faintly. Do you still think one small act can change everything? Alexander met her eyes. It already did. And as thunder rolled softly across the horizon, the story of the waitress and the billionaire became something larger than luck. It became proof that kindness can rewrite destiny. Months later, Jessica stood before the glass tower that now bore the name Cromwell Foundation for Hope. The evening sun spilled gold across the city skyline, casting reflections that shimmered like second chances. Inside, families waited to be seen, people who had walked through storms of their own, just as she once had. But now, she was the one opening doors for them. Her mother's laughter drifted through her memory, alive and steady. For years, Jessica had believed survival meant silence. Now, she understood that asking for help was not weakness. It was courage in its truest form. Alexander had once told her that healing isn't just about saving lives. It's about restoring faith in what people can be to one another. As she looked out over the city lights, she whispered softly, "Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible." Behind her, the foundation's new sign flickered to life, glowing against the dusk like a promise kept. Somewhere out there, another person was writing their own desperate note. And Jessica knew someone would answer. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales, where every act of kindness becomes a story worth remembering.